5 Live Formula One.
Welcome to your Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying debrief. We are coming to you from inside the Red Bull motorhome. They very kindly agreed to host us. We're actually on the Racing Bulls floor. And it's quite a nice chalet vibe, not quite as blingy as Alpines, but certainly a lot of wood finishes. I'm Harry Benjamin, I'm joined by Sam Bird and Jenny Gow as we overlook the paddock too. It's cooled down slightly, there's a bit of a breeze, the sun just going behind some of the white whispery clouds in the air after a qualifying, Sam, that we did not expect with Charles Leclerc on pole position.
We did not see that coming. Even Charles Leclerc didn't see that coming. He looked just as shocked as we were, to be honest. But what a qualifying session it was, Harry. We saw plenty of surprises. We saw people going out of Q1 and Q2 that we didn't expect. We saw a surprise pole sitter, and the McLarens are so close together yet again.
I mean, it was a brilliant display from Charles Leclerc. Jenny, I wonder though, first pole position for Ferrari this season. I mean, it's quite a good big moment for Leclerc, especially heading into the summer break.
And for him to get that first pole position for Ferrari this year was all important. Obviously, Lewis went out and did that sprint race in China and was so successful, but that was so early on in the season, and that has fallen away drastically. Charles Leclerc only had three pole positions last year. They were at Monaco, Belgium and Azerbaijan. We always joke this weekend about Monaco without the walls, Monaco without the houses, pick your phrase. We spoke to Charles Leclerc about that, and he said, I've never got on with this track, despite it being Monaco without walls. And he was saying, finally, I've managed to do what everyone expected me to do sooner, but it's taken him till this point in his career to manage to do it.
Never qualified higher than third here before. That's all changed. He will start the Hungarian Grand Prix on pole position. Let's hear what Charles Leclerc had to say after quali.
I was like, okay, that's as good as a lap can be in those conditions, because honestly it was so difficult out there in Q3 and I had to reset a bit all expectations. And I was like, okay, that should be good enough for P3, I hope, but I was expecting to be just like FP1, FP2, FP3, 3/4 tenths of McLaren. And then I've heard P1, and that was by far, I think, the most surprising pole position of my career.
Do you think this is a signal of something to come, or do you think it was the conditions? What plays into this, and how does it make you feel going forward?
I don't know. Today I'm a bit lost. I did not expect that. I mean, I don't know from where it comes from, because I don't think any of us expected to be on pole position. But wherever it comes from, it's a positive sign to be able to finally be on pole position, and I think it's for sure the result of the hard work the team has done. We've brought an upgrade in Spa, which was good in Spa, which also works well here. That also gave me the confidence to do a really good lap in Q3, and the combination of both of those things made us being in pole position for tomorrow. So I'm really happy.
So Charles Leclerc, Sam, didn't know that would happen. He was really, and we all thought third place was going to be the main goal for Charles Leclerc, but it was all to do with the wind changing direction, being described as almost doing a 180-degree change of direction. Can you describe how much the wind has an effect on a car's performance?
It has a huge effect. Let's just go back a little bit and describe what you were saying about him targeting third. There was a point in Q1 where I feared that both Ferraris were actually going to be out in Q1. Then in Q2, I feared that both of them would go out in Q2. Charles Leclerc didn't look competitive in the first two qualifying sessions. He didn't look competitive on his first run in Q3. He's then got on the radio to his engineer and gone, guys, we need to go early. The most important thing here is traffic management. Forget the track, it's traffic management. And they delivered. It was absolutely superb. But with regards to the wind, let's say you're driving at Silverstone and you're going into Copse Corner, one of the most famous corners in motorsport. If you've got a headwind, you're going to have effectively more downforce on the car, more wind pushing that car down into the ground, and you can carry more speed. You've got a tailwind behind you. That wind is pushing you through the corner from the back, creating a load of understeer. So if you've got the car set up and dialed in for a certain wind direction, and then it flips the other way, it can have a really detrimental effect to the way that the car operates and handles.
Well, in the end, it worked out superbly for Charles Leclerc. 27th career pole position. Now, whilst there is elation on one side of the garage, the other side, it's a rather desperate situation. You mentioned there, we thought both Ferraris might go out in Q1. One Ferrari did go out in Q2. Lewis Hamilton, 12th in the end. And I think, you know what, I actually think we need to hear from Lewis Hamilton first and what he said following qualifying, because he's come out with some quite strong quotes. Here he is speaking to Lawrence Barretto.
Hey Lewis, the pace in the car looked alright yesterday, looked okay again in FP3, so what happened in quali?
I'm just useless.
So say again?
I'm just useless.
But that isn't obviously the case.
It clearly is.
What?
Yeah, it's clearly is. Just drove terribly. It is what it is.
Did you just not feel comfortable in the car in that part of quali? Did something change?
Nothing changed.
Alright, I like Lewis.
So Lewis Hamilton there, those are some strong statements from Lewis Hamilton, Jenny. I know it's in the heat of the moment after qualifying, but you were also in that media pen. There was times where it got to a point where he was fed up and didn't want to talk to anyone anymore.
You know when Lewis has a bad quali or a bad race, you kind of fear what's going to happen. You almost don't want to do the interview, but that's what we're here to do. And his head was down. In fairness, it's been down all weekend. He hasn't been energetic, sprightly, feeling good. And it's so out of character with where he can be. But, I mean, the quotes that he said were quite unbelievable. I was struggling to even hear him. So quiet, softly spoken was he. And it was almost as if he was going into himself. And to say he's absolutely useless. I mean, we're talking about one of the most successful racing drivers of all time. And it's taken 14 rounds to get to this point. But he is absolutely dejected.
It's difficult to hear him say those words. Not in terms of the volume, obviously it was quite quiet,
Yeah.
but it's difficult to hear somebody that is so talented, so good. This guy's won over 100 Grand Prix. He's won 7 world titles. On paper, he is the greatest racing driver of all time. On paper, obviously, different people will dispute that, but he is. So to hear him say those things is very, very challenging for me. But different drivers succeed in different eras, and I just feel like the previous era of car suited Lewis down to the ground. This era with the ground effect simply doesn't. And even when he was at Mercedes, that ground, when he was there for the 3 years of ground effect, it didn't suit him. He would have the odd result, but it wasn't consistent.
But when you've got Hamilton saying things like they probably need to change driver. We're past the halfway point of this season now with Ferrari, and you allow a sort of grace period, don't you, Jen, for drivers to get used to their new surroundings and to bed in. But right now, it's hard to pinpoint an exact reason. The car is one factor, as Sam alludes to, with the ground effect. But is it also maybe just the Ferrari culture as well? We know how strong that is for somebody to come in, even somebody like Lewis Hamilton.
Let's be honest, Lewis, just after a qualifying session, when he hasn't lived up to his own high expectations, will always come across and judge himself so harshly. So he'll always be down in the dumps. He'll always berate himself. And this is a new level of berating, but I'm sure when he's gone away and had a moment to think about it, he'll look at the data. This is a data-led sport. He'll go back to that, the thing that he knows the best, and look at it and work out, well, why did it go wrong? What happened? And how can I put it right? And they literally come out the car straight to us in the media pen. it's not the best time to speak to someone when they're upset, when they're feeling bad about their qualifying performance. You get a very raw interview. And I'm sure he won't feel like that. Even now, if we're looking at when we're recording this, he'll probably have found a reason, maybe just picked himself up. The team will pick him up as well, because it's in their interest to do that and to make him feel better.
But I think him and Ferrari, they know the issue. It's just getting out of the habit of creating the issue, because clearly Charles Leclerc doesn't have the issue. For me, from speaking to people as well, it sounds like it's trail braking, and it looks like it's trail braking as well. Basically, when you hit the brake hard, you put the car into a pitch, and then if you trail brake in these cars, you can stall the rear diffuser, which then creates rear end instability, end of braking, which is exactly what he's been struggling with. You look at him trying to negotiate 6 and 7. Every other lap, it looks like he's going to have a bit of a moment through there, and it creates inconsistencies when you do that. There's times where he doesn't have it, but quite often he struggles with this specific problem. The thing is with it is that if you then go, right, well, you've got end of braking, rear instability, let's raise the front of the car to give you less rake. All you'll do then is create a load of understeer. So that's a no-go. Then you go, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll put a stiffer front spring in. That's a no-go. So everything they do in order to help him with the issue is actually probably going to make the front end worse and the car ultimately slower if he then drives it the way that Charles Leclerc is driving it. That's the problem that they've got.
Hamilton turned 40 in January. Is it too early to bring up the topic of conversation about losing your edge?
Alonso turned 44 this week, and he placed it P5. I don't think you can automatically go there yet. I don't think that's fair to say.
But there is an argument, Jenny, to say that different people age at different times.
You're telling me?
Alonso is doing his best Benjamin Button impression to carry on forever, and he's doing a blinding job. And who's to say that Lewis Hamilton in 2026, if those regulations suit him, we could be looking at an 8, 9, 10-time world champion. But, you know, it should be spoken about, the fact that at 40, I'm 38, and I'm struggling.
And you've not lost your edge?
Don't know. But at 40, it can be spoken about, but I hope it's not true.
Just, you know Lewis relatively well, let's put it that way. Have you ever seen him this down, this lost, this confused by his own performance? Not the car, his performance.
No, I don't think so. I knew Lewis and worked with Lewis in a very different era and phase of his career, when he'd won one world championship and he was trying to prove himself as a multiple world champion. And then after I'd left Mercedes, he, went on a spree of winning everything, and he had nothing to prove to anybody. But it's almost like he now has to reprove himself to everybody that he is as good as he was, and I think that's quite challenging. So he's kind of gone through, he's done a whole 360.
Well, for Lewis Hamilton, at a track where he is very successful, the most successful of the current grid, he'll have a long old afternoon on his hands. Starts in 12th place, whilst his teammate is on pole position. So let's hope for Lewis Hamilton's sake that he can end this, let's call it the first half of the year, even though we're just a bit over than that, in a relatively optimistic state as we head into that, what will be an all-important summer break for Lewis Hamilton. Now, McLaren, second and third. Oscar Piastri ahead of Lando Norris. But to come back to our initial conversation, Jenny, we were so shocked that they weren't in the hunt for, well, they were in the hunt for pole, but neither of them ended up on it. It's still a pretty good result, but that's gonna weigh on their minds a little bit, how their car could be so affected by a wind change like that.
Well, the conditions from Q1 to 2 to 3 changed so dramatically. It just caught them out, and it caught them out more than any other team. So you saw a couple of teams losing a tenth, 2 tenths. They lost 6 tenths compared to Q2 and Q3. The fastest lap was in the 1:15s. The fastest lap in Q2 was in the 1:14s. So it doesn't make much sense. But the team will go away, they'll look at it. I still think they've got a good chance of finishing the race in P1, P2. But I think everyone was shocked at the turnaround and how quickly it happened.
Well, it's still second and third, though, Sam, isn't it? And that McLaren we know is so good in race trim. Oscar Piastri won this race from second on the grid last year. How are you seeing their race going to unfold? Is it just a case of they're going to zip by Leclerc and that Ferrari?
Depends on the weather, I think, Harry. But I think even wet or dry, they should be able to overtake the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. They're so good on their tyres. Plus, I think ultimately they are faster over one lap as well. I think that it's only a matter of time before both make their way past the Ferrari. Charles Leclerc even said that they've opted for less downforce to get through qualifying. I think that he might suffer with tyre deg, but then if it rains with less downforce as well, he'll struggle ultimately as well.
Well, let's hear from the man who qualified second, our championship leader, Oscar Piastri.
I'm confident that I can still win tomorrow. It's obviously a little bit more difficult from second than first, but I think there's still opportunities, obviously, at turn 1, but also just with strategy as well, and we've got to see what the weather does as well. So, I think there's still a very good chance to win the race, but I don't think our race pace is as good as maybe what other people think. I think compared to Ferrari, we had a little edge yesterday, but not a huge amount, and around here you need a huge amount.
Oscar Piastri then, and we talk so much about momentum, Jenny, don't we? You brought it up there in the interview. It really just seems like it's on a pendulum swinging left and right between these two drivers, but this is going to be a big one this weekend, isn't it? Because we have that summer break, so Norris will want to bounce back too.
Well, to quote Zach Brown, the boss of McLaren, it's on a coin toss. And every weekend it is, and you couldn't 100% back either one of them against the other. You have your feeling that maybe Piastri is on the rise and ascendant, but you couldn't guarantee it. So you have to wait for the race, and people say, it's just between the McLarens. Actually, we've had some really stunning races, and okay, it's just between them, and maybe you'll have someone else in the mix. But what racing they are able to pull out week after week, it's phenomenal.
You can't pick between the two of them, really. They're both so evenly matched this season. Last year and the year before, I think Oscar had some improving to do in some areas, but the talent was there. He has upped his game this year and proving that he is here to try and win this World Championship, and he'll do everything he can to try and do it.
Well, let's hear from the man chasing him down, Lando Norris, qualified third.
It was good until Q3. Q3 just everything went away from us. The car got a lot more tricky and we were just a lot slower. So before then good. Q2 was like 14.8 and we lost almost 6 tenths. So disappointing from that side, but not a lot we could do. It's just the wind changed and we suffered because of it.
For tomorrow, obviously we've got rain expected overnight, potentially a green track, starting P3. What can you do? Come on, tell us.
I don't think it's not impossible to overtake here. One of the advantages of the Ferrari is the straight line speed comparing to us, so might not necessarily be as easy to overtake them as some others. But at the same time, then hopefully we're a bit quicker in the final sector and some of these longer corners, which puts us in a position to try and overtake at least. So we don't know. We don't know everything. We have to wait to see what the weather does and what tyres we use and all those things. But the pace is there, so we're confident we'll go forwards.
So Norris then will start directly behind Charles Leclerc. He'll have his teammate Oscar Piastri slightly to his right-hand side and ahead of him. But we know that the rain on Sunday could certainly prove to bring us some excitement. Now, I think it's also only fair that we just have a brief moment and talk about Red Bull, seeing as they are hosting us.
Yep, I want to talk about Verstappen.
Well, where do you want to go with that? Because it's been I'd say, has it been a pretty dire weekend?
Well, firstly, they are hosting us, Harry, and can I just say the smell of the food in here is absolutely incredible, and has been for the last hour. So I'm hoping that our producer Paddy allows me to eat some food before we leave and go back to the hotel tonight. But Verstappen has been complaining of a lack of grip, just global grip, all weekend. So has Yuki Tsunoda. They've brought a new front wing for Max Verstappen for this weekend, and it really doesn't seem to be helping. He's just, every time he comes out the pits, goes, guys, I don't know what to say. I have no grip at the front and I've got no grip at the rear. And you know what? When you watch his car compared to the McLarens and potentially even the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, it does. He looks like... Do you know what it feels like? It's like if you go on your simulator at home, if you play your PlayStation, or you've driven a proper racing simulator, if you just turn the circuit grip down by about 2%, that's what it looks like is going on currently with the Red Bull.
Tricky weekend so far for Max Verstappen. 8th place. That's his worst qualifying of the year. If we look at the other side, though, Jen, at Aston Martin, they are having a brilliant weekend so far. Alonso and Stroll right up there, 5th and 6th.
I think very much track specific. They haven't got upgrades. No one really has a massive upgrade that they've brought here. But the conditions worked well for them. Russell as well, he said it was cooler, so all of a sudden they were in a good place. So Russell, Alonso, Stroll, 4, 5, 6 is quite... I mean, it's crazy if you actually think about where they were last week, which is at the back of the grid. And then Bortoletto, the person that actually Fernando Alonso manages, they were joking in the pen saying, Bortoletto was saying, oh, you better give me an easy time, don't mess me up tomorrow. But I think the pack is so close. They were separated by such a small margin. And for Bortoletto to get P7 as well, Sauber have come on so much. It's really quite impressive.
Compared to last year, it's night and day, isn't it? I think, the leadership of Jonathan Wheatley has been very, very impressive. They've clearly made gains with their cars. Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoletto have done good jobs all the way through the year, pretty much. Bortoletto's just improving and improving. Hülkenberg's got his podium. So it is a team on the up.
Yeah, well, for Hülkenberg, unfortunately, he was all the way down in 19th. Bortoletto getting his best qualifying result of the season so far in 7th, ahead of Max Verstappen. And we should also say, because we're on the Racing Bulls floor of the Red Bull Hospitality, both cars inside the top 10. Liam Lawson out-qualifying Isaac Hadjar. And then outside, Behrman, Hamilton, Sainz, Colapinto ahead of Gasly, who was down in 17th. Antonelli was only 15th. Tsunoda 16th, with Ocon, Hülkenberg and Alex Albon actually qualifying 20th and last. It's going to be a long old afternoon for Alex Albon at the Hungaroring, an afternoon which we expect over 70 laps to be maybe a little bit rain affected. Last thing from you both is a prediction for the winner, please.
I'm going to go stick to my guns, go Piastri for the win.
Piastri for the win.
Oh, if you've gone Piastri, I'll go Norris.
Still McLaren, I like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Harry?
I'm going to go for Norris. I'll go for Norris for the win and close down the championship battle. Now, we are sat at a lovely table in the Red Bull Hospitality. Limbering up in the corner of my eye is the man who is presenting our coverage on 5 Live on Sunday afternoon, Steve Crossman, broadcasting hero of mine. What have we got to look forward to?
You're saying that with a straight face. I would have just settled for the man who organised this lovely venue for you.
You've actually pulled it out of the park with this one. Top work.
What have we got to look forward to? Well, I, as always, have been loving listening to the podcast. In fact, I feel like I've sort of won a competition in that I've got to listen to it go out live, which has been great fun.
We should do that more.
Say again?
We should do that more. Competition of come and watch us do the podcast.
Sure, yeah.
Great.
Probably as BBC staff, I shouldn't enter next time.
There's also a meet and greet available with Sam Bird afterwards too, if you'd like to take that up.
Nobody's turning up to that.
I've just been speaking to Bernd Meister. I call him Big Bernd Meister now because he has been the safety car driver for 25 years. Shout out to Jenny Gow for setting that up. Has led the most laps of a Grand Prix of any person in history. That was your stat, wasn't it?
Yep. He borrowed
Lovely
it
fella.
well.
Great fella. So we'll hear from him. We'll hear from all of the big players. Big focus on Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri. Then we'll be on the grid. Then we'll bring you the Grand Prix in full at 2 o'clock.
Interestingly, though, Steve, who pulled out? Who are you not speaking to this evening that we wanted to?
Oh, Fred Vasseur. Yeah. Disappointing that. But I have a feeling that the interview that he was going to do with us, I think if Lewis Hamilton hadn't said what Lewis Hamilton said, we probably would have got that interview.
Crucial question. Did you call Bernd his actual name, Bernd Mailander? Or
What did I just say?
I don't know what you... Bergmeister?
The Berndmeister.
No, that's Sam over there.
Bernd Mailander.
Bernd Mailander.
Yeah, I got it. I called him the correct name.
It's just with us.
It's
It's
all right.
very
There's
casual.
a rookie on the team, you know how it is.
Right, that's it. I'm throwing you out. You're gone.
So,
I'll speak to my
sorry,
contacts.
Mr. Crossman.
Goodness
so he's
me.
in charge tomorrow.
Pathetic.
Right. Okay, I think we're just about done there, I think, for our qualifying debrief. But Steve and the whole team will be here across 5 live
Hang on a minute,
tomorrow.
Steve.
Oh, does he need to do a prediction?
Hang on, yes.
Oh, yes, Steve.
Hello again.
Who's going to win the race?
Charles Leclerc's going to win the race.
Okay.
Wins it off pole. I know you were saying in commentary it hasn't happened for a couple of years, but it's Monaco without the walls, isn't it, Harry?
You're absolutely right.
So, there you go.
Andrew Benson is somewhere giving me daggers. Anyway, right, that's just about does it from us. Charles Leclerc will start the Hungarian Grand Prix from pole position. There could be rain in the air. The 2 McLarens behind. Oscar Piastri with the advantage in the championship. You can hear it all on 5 Live on Sunday afternoon. Thanks to the whole team. This has been an IMG production for BBC Radio 5 Live.